Fear Not, Episode 147. Hi, I'm Billy Atwell, and I believe that consistently facing your fears is the only way to realize your truest self and to make those confident choices that will help you to obtain your deepest held hopes and dreams. I have faith that this podcast series will show you that you are not alone, that it will strengthen you and give you courage to face your fears, and that it will help you to permanently cross over into a life of living beyond your fears. Join me on this journey as we listen and learn from others as they share their experiences in facing and overcoming their own fears. Hello, everybody. Today you and I are going to be joined by Marion mpyle. Welcome, Marion. How are you today?
Oh, hi, Billy. Hello. It's good to be with you.
Yeah. Are you ready to fear not today?
I am ready to fear not. I love the title of your show.
Marion is an award-winning writer, producer, and director of cable, commercial, promotional, and educational programs for television and digital media. As an actress and TV host, she has worked in the U.S., Australia, and South America. Together with her husband, she runs a boutique media production agency, Legacy Media Lab, in Los Angeles. The agency specializes in projects with heart and purpose that elevate the human condition. In 2012, her husband's battle to overcome deadly bladder cancer was so life-changing that she wrote the highly acclaimed book, Healed, Healthy, and Whole: How We Beat Cancer with Integrative Therapies and Essential Healing Strategies. The book shares the many holistic lessons learned and has touched the lives of thousands around the world. Today, she and her husband are noted and passionate advocates for an integrative approach to health and healing. Marion, can you take a few moments to fill in those gaps for us today?
You know, what you read was very, very complete. So I'm a media and communications professional, and I've also got this other side of me, which is this health advocacy that has emerged from the lessons that I learned over the last 5 years from my husband battling and overcoming cancer. So in my professional life, I'm a media and communications expert, and in my personal life, I'm a woman of faith. I'm a Christian, and I'm also a person that is a strong advocate for a certain approach to healthy lifestyle living.
Marion, would you also share with us today one of the biggest fears that you've had to face?
Yes. You know, without a doubt, Billy, the worst fear that I encountered in my adult life was the day that my husband and I both heard that he had a highly malevolent form of bladder cancer. It was in 2012, and it was a terrifying day because my husband had always led a very healthy lifestyle, so he was an unlikely candidate for cancer. So it caught us completely by surprise, although I think that may be true for anyone who has had cancer or a life-threatening condition. I think these types of diagnoses, they tend to suddenly pounce on you, and they catch us all by surprise. So people who are hearing this that have had that experience know exactly what I'm referring to. It's just a moment where your heart just stops, your life stops, and you're just suddenly facing the possibility of this person that you adore. You're seeing that they may not be with you for very much longer, that they might die because of this thing that has overtaken them. And it's absolutely a most terrifying, there's hardly words to describe it. It's just a horrible experience, an agony that you experience. It's terrifying.
So what did you do to overcome that?
We did many things. We had the added pressure that we were told that the kind of cancer that my husband had would not respond to conventional treatment. Conventional treatment means chemotherapy and radiation. And so that we were told that was not even an option for us, and that there was a 95% chance he would have to have his bladder out, that he would have to have then his prostate out, and even then he would have less than 5 years to live, if at that. So we really were looking at the end of the barrel of the gun. And we just refused to give up and decide that was the end of our options. We put a call out to all of our family and friends and community and asking for wisdom and other second opinions and things like that to get more information, and we threw ourselves into research. And as a result of those amazingly wonderful people, we got some fantastic referrals to other specialists, and we began to learn about a world, a medical world that up until that point we had never even heard of, we knew very little about, called alternative oncology, which is a combination of the best of traditional medicine and the best of alternative medicine. And the integration of these two specialties can bring very successful results to very difficult and challenging health conditions. So that proved to be the case with my husband. We followed a very intensive alternative protocol for about 10 months. And at the end of those 10 months, he was completely healed. He went into complete remission. He's been in complete remission for 4.5 years now, and he's very healthy and feels fantastic. So that's what we did on a physical and a medical level. On a spiritual level and on an emotional level, as believers, as people of faith, my husband and I, we did intensify our prayer life, our prayer time. We prayed together every morning. We prayed together at night. We prayed during the day. We prayed with friends and family. We had, in fact, teams of people praying for us. Prayer moves mountains. It's very, very powerful. So we intensified our prayer strategy, if you will. We considered it almost like a military operation. We did things on a physical level, on a spiritual level. And we also intensified our study of the scriptures, the Christian scriptures, the Bible, because we found tremendous direction, guidance, and encouragement in the words of Jesus and in the scriptures. So we found that spiritually we were given enormous fortitude and courage to continue and to trust because of the promises of God that we found in the Bible. So that for us was a holistic approach to our healing. And I say our because, you know, when you're married, your husband is your other half. You're really one unit. And so we went through this together. And so that was it. We did a military operation. We approached this healing process on a physical, on a spiritual, and on a emotional level as well. That's how we did it.
Marion, I know we were talking earlier very specifically about your faith, and would you mind sharing how you used your faith? Because not everyone that listening is a Christian, so maybe you can explain to us a little bit more about the importance of your faith and how that actually works in your life.
Yes. When you're a person of faith, as I am, it does inform every aspect of your life, and our faith is something that's alive. You know, our spirit is alive, and we believe also in the Bible that the words of God also are spirit-filled. They're alive as well. And so what a person of faith like myself does is we go to the scriptures, which is where we feel that is the way in which we feel that God has spoken to us. It's through his word. And we search the scriptures to find what God might say about that particular situation that we're in. In this case, facing fear. And that's a very common condition. Jesus, when he walked this earth, often referred to us as sheep. And if you know anything about sheep, is they're very timid and fearful creatures. They can get spooked very easily. And I would say that's true about people too. We can experience fear very quickly. So as a Christian, I found enormous comfort, guidance, and clarity by replacing my fearful thoughts with the promises that I read in the Bible about those particular situations that I was experiencing. And so I would appropriate, if you can understand that word, I did an exchange. I deleted the toxic thoughts about fear, the toxic, fearful thoughts. I deleted them literally, and I replaced them with positive promises from scriptures. And because this is not just positive thinking, which means that I have to put a lot of personal effort into it. And if I'm feeling debilitated, it's hard to have strength when you're feeling down and frightened. Because the words of God are spiritually grounded, they actually have a life of their own. That's the power and the beauty of them, is that when I would go to the scriptures and I would read the promises of God that he would give me about how to combat fear and how to trust him and how that he would get us through this. And I found myself physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually able to overcome the fear. In fact, the fear would flee. We believe as Christians that fear is a spirit. It's a toxic spirit. And so if you know how to fight it, if you know how to stand up against it, it will flee from you. And you replace fear with the promises of God, and you find that you are able to continue functioning in this very difficult situation that you're facing, but with renewed courage and inner strength, thanks to the promises that you hold on to. I hope what I just explained makes sense to people. I hope that was clear.
Yeah, I think that was clear, and thank you for sharing that. Are you ready for the speed round?
Yes, absolutely. Let's do it.
What individual, whether they're fiction or real, has made the most impact on your life?
Well, I didn't become a Christian till I was in my 30s. And so I have a very clear recollection of what my life was like before I met Jesus and what my life was like, has been like after I met Jesus and followed him. And I can tell you it's night and day. So he is without question the most impactful individual that has ever impacted my life. Just without question, it's Jesus.
And if you could instantly change one thing in the world, what would you change?
I would love for people's hearts and minds to be opened to the wonders, the blessings of what it is to know Christ, because it changes you from the inside out. And if we were to, on a global scale, if we could find that inner strength, understanding, insight, rejuvenation of our spirits, it would transform our world. It would transform our institutions. It would transform everything that we build as human beings. And we would have a planet where people could live in peace and live in great strength, collaboration, and friendship with each other. I would wish that for us.
What's your biggest weakness?
I have a broad range of interests. I can tend to spread myself too thin, and so I often have to pick and choose carefully to keep my priorities on track, so that I can achieve the things that I've set, the goals that I've set for myself, because otherwise I can be very easily distracted by something that's fascinating to me.
And what's your biggest strength?
I think my biggest strength is my faith, the courage that comes from my faith, knowing that because of Christ's presence in my life, because of my allegiance to him, because of my understanding of his promises in the scriptures, I do have courage and faith to face really whatever it is he chooses to cross my path. It hasn't always been easy by any stretch, and I'm sure I'll face a number of other trials that are very challenging before I leave this world. But I've learned that no matter what happens, he is with me in the valleys as well as on the mountaintops. And so that gives me tremendous courage.
If you could only have one book to read, what's that book going to be?
Well, the Bible is an inexhaustible source of inspiration and wisdom, and so there would just be no contest. If the only book I ever read was that, it would be more than enough to keep me interested and strengthened and challenged for the rest of my days.
Do you have a favorite sound?
My favorite sound is the sound of my husband's voice when he comes through the door at night and he says, "I'm home." I just love the sound of his voice.
And Marion, if someone would like to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
I would invite them to go to my website, which is healedhealthyandwhole.com, and there's an opportunity there. There's a contact button, and they can send me an email, and they can comment and share what their story, whatever their question, and it would be my pleasure to connect with them that way.
And what parting advice could you offer us today?
Well, I think wherever anybody is at and whatever it is they're going through, and whatever faith they have at the moment, I think what's important is to draw near to God. There's a marvelous promise in the scriptures that says, "Draw near to me in times of trouble, and I will guide and comfort you." And so draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. And so you don't even have to know who he is yet, but you do have to reach out and say, "I need you. I can't do this alone. Please send me your guidance. Please send me your courage. Please send me your strength. I really need you right now." And he will answer that prayer and begin to work in your life powerfully. So I would invite people to open up their hearts and minds to drawing near to God, calling out to him with all their heart, and watch what happens.
Encouraging words indeed. So thank you so much for that. And I want to let everyone know, too, that Marion has generously donated a copy of her book, Healed, Healthy, and Whole, that we'll be giving away. So if you'd like an opportunity to win, visit the giveaways page at livingbeyondyourfears.com and submit your free entry form today. Marion, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today. You've been so generous with your time and your knowledge and your wisdom. So I truly appreciate it. Thank you.
It's such a pleasure, Billy. I appreciate your invitation to be with you and with your listeners, and God bless you all.
Thank you for joining me today. And remember, you cannot achieve everything, but you do have the God-given ability to achieve anything. So stay focused, out of fear, and keep on keeping on. Until next time, be well and peaceful. For more information on today's episode and guest, or for resources that will assist you in overcoming your fears, visit livingbeyondyourfears.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, where 3 times a week we move to a life beyond our fears.